Hey babe, welcome to By the Hour, where we chat and reflect and keep your vibe in check. For today's episode, this is actually going to be a more laid back one. So there's no agenda, there's no word of the day, unless I come up with one. But I kind of want to do these episodes occasionally where I just check in and I just ramble and it's just like a brain rot episode, if you want to call it that. But yeah, I just wanted to be more relaxed. I think the first couple of episodes have been very structured and I've come in with like different topics, and what have you. But I want to do these episodes occasionally where I just talk freely. So I just want to check in with you guys, do a mental health check-in. How are you doing, girl? How's things going? How are you? Have you taken some time to breathe? Have you done anything nice for yourself? Like, what's up? Talk to me. Tell me. Are you good? I think it's important to, just check in once in a while, which, I check in with you guys every week, but as in just relax, breathe, just have a girl chat. Just do, chit chat vibes, or I don't know, guys, but I just want to switch off for this episode, right? So I'm feeling good, I'm feeling okay. I've had a few ebbs and flows over the past couple of weeks. I recently got a new job, yay me, which I'm really enjoying. It's definitely, I'm not going to say challenging, but it's challenging me to think outside of the box and to learn more and just push myself, which I love doing. I love a challenge and I love learning new things. So it's been really great for my development and all of that. And, I want to talk about this, but I need to figure out a way to talk about it without any problems legally or without ruffling any feathers. I did mention it, I think, in episode 1, where I just went through like a rundown of the past year and a half. And I mentioned that towards the end of last year, I lost my job. In fact, let me rephrase that. I didn't lose anything. They lost me. I got let go from my job under such shitty circumstances. Like I said, I need to figure out a way to talk about it because I don't want any legal problems. I just want to I want to speak my truth, and I just need to figure out a way to do that without getting in trouble. I don't know how to explain it. I didn't do anything wrong. That's all I'm going to say. I didn't do anything wrong. Let's just say, when you're in a workplace, sometimes there are people with negative energy. There are monitoring spirits. There are people who are jealous and who have very negative, volatile energy. And when they see that you are authentic and pure and you have talent, they're intimidated by that. And so I believe that is what happened. And some people are just miserable, right? So I got let go from my job during my time that I was recovering from surgery. Like I said, let's come back to this in another episode, but that was a really shit time. Really, really shit. It was shit initially, but then I was just like, you know what? You did me a favor. I'm free. I wasn't happy. I didn't feel valued. And yeah, the universe just freed me from that place. So then I started doing content creation full time, which I was really, really enjoying. And I was scared. I think, when you're a content creator or when you're self-employed, sometimes you have months where, your things aren't... Okay, that didn't really happen for me, but I've heard from other people that sometimes you can have slow months. Sometimes money might not come in. And that's the risk when it comes to being self-employed, especially as a content creator, because you can have months where you've got all these paid collabs. You might have a retainer for 3 months and then maybe it doesn't get extended. So it's very up and down. and it's not reliable all the time. And so I always had this in the back of my mind, and I was very fearful of that. And I was just like, as much as I want to do this full time and I want to commit to this, I cannot guarantee that I'm going to always have money coming in. Now, luckily, I was good. It's like God knew. It's like the universe knew. Like the month that I got let go, so I got let go in November, I had so many paid collabs come in and retainers and all of this. Like even brands that I was working with before, they wanted to extend with me. They gave me more opportunities. So it's almost as if like it was just such a divine thing that I clearly wasn't valued or respected in this job role that I was in. And I was going to say something out of pocket. There were people with bad energy and bad vibes who came in and who were threatened by me, or I don't even know what kind of word to use, because I don't know why anyone would be threatened by me. I'm literally just a regular babe. I don't harm anyone. I just mind my business, and I'm authentically me all the time. Like even obviously like we have work personas or masks that we wear at work. Like you're a bit more reserved because you have to be careful in workplaces, clearly, you know. But as a whole, like I was myself. I was just me, you know, living my truth. But clearly I wasn't valued and I wasn't happy, if I'm being honest, because I went through a lot in that role. And, you know, I was toying with the idea of like being self-employed anyway. Like I wanted to do it, but I just wouldn't take the leap. And I kind of feel like the universe did it for me. It was like, oh, well, come on, man, here you go. Here's an opportunity for you to do it. So I did. So I remained self-employed from November up until February. And I wanted to stay self-employed. I was doing well. I was fine. And I do recognize that I'm very lucky to say that, because not everyone can say that. But I was fine financially, mentally. Like I felt so much better. I was thriving. I was going to events. I was like experimenting with my content, like content for brands. Like I was doing so many good things. And that's when I started planning this podcast. Like I was on a roll. Like I felt like a proper boss babe. But I just I keep saying to people and I keep saying to friends that as an adult, I've never known a life without a job. So the idea of me not having stable income, or potentially not having stable income, didn't sit well with me. And I believe that stems from me growing up poor. I had moments, and I mentioned this in one of my episodes, where I went to bed. I went to bed for dinner. I went to bed for dinner. If you know what that means, you know. But it's like when you're so hungry that you have to go to bed because there's no food. I've had moments like that. And so I've always had this fear of being broke, of being poor, homeless. I don't want to say it's an unreasonable fear, because in this day and age, especially with the current economical climate that we're in and the cost of living crisis, a lot of people are one paycheck away from homelessness. A lot of people, live paycheck to paycheck. Now, again, I am so grateful to God, the universe, to everyone, to my own resilience and strength, that I can confidently say that that's not me. But you never know. It could be me someday. Knock on wood. It's very possible. So, you know, as much as I was enjoying it, and I do feel like I would have been able to sustain it, I just was like, nah, let me find a job, especially because I live alone. Again, living alone, there's bills to pay. Things need to be paid. I didn't want a situation where, you know, I was thriving for a couple of months and then there's that 1 month where like money wasn't coming in from content. How am I going to pay my bills? Yes, I have savings, but I'm the kind of person where I don't like to touch my savings. I'm glad I have that mentality, but then also it's there for a rainy day, you know? But I was getting in my head, if I'm being honest. I was like, oh my gosh, like, let me not get too comfortable, because what if I don't get a few collabs 1 month? Sorry, excuse me. What if these contracts don't get extended again? Luckily, they got extended a couple of times because, you know, the brands that I was working with were really happy with my content and my work ethic. And I was really grateful for that. But like I said, I don't like to rely on that because you never know. And I like structure. Like, even though I did give myself a structure, I don't know. I sort of okay, no, I don't want to say I missed it, but like I just needed like a structure, like a set one. Because even with the structure that I created, like my weeks would change anyway. But yeah, so I was looking for jobs and everything, and then I landed this one, and I'm very happy. And it happened in such a divine way. I don't want to speak on it too much because there are certain things that you should like keep to yourself, but it just happened in such a beautiful way. I think, like I said, like once I figure out how I want to speak about my work, the situation with my previous workplace, then I'll go into it. But I just need to like figure out a way. But people are wicked. Let's just say that. Like I'm someone, I know how to take accountability, and like, gosh, it's really hard to talk about without like being fully transparent about it. But it's like, I didn't do anything wrong. I was myself, and I was open and transparent, and people are just wicked. They're just so wicked. Even people that you don't know, which, anyways. So yes, I started my new job recently. I'm really enjoying it. I'm learning a lot. And like I said, just the way that it came to me was just so divine. And I realized that like I've been so good at manifesting lately. Not even lately, like the past couple of months, it's almost as if like, sorry, I'm just checking the time, guys. It's almost as if like anytime I put something out there, I see it come into fruition within a matter of days, weeks, maybe months. But I attribute that to me being in a better headspace and me vibrating at a higher frequency. Now, I'm quite spiritual, and I've spoken about this on my TikTok a couple of times, and I definitely want to dedicate an episode to spirituality and, you know, my experiences with that. But I wholeheartely believe in vibrations and energy. I feel like when you're depressed, when you're in a negative headspace, you vibrate at such a low frequency. And that means that you invite negative energy and negative situations sometimes. And, you know, I do try to tread lightly with this topic. And I don't fully believe that if I just constantly think negative things that, you know, it's really hard to explain because like, okay, let me say it in this way. So like when I was really going through my depression and I was like in a really dark headspace, like bad things would happen to me, or what I perceived as bad things, or I felt really negative. And it almost felt as though like good things weren't happening to me. And they were, obviously, but it felt like I was mostly focusing on the bad and on the negative. And I think the point that I'm trying to make is I don't want to say that anytime like you're in a bad headspace or a negative headspace, that it automatically means that you're going to encourage negative energy to come into your life, or that you're going to ruin the potential for something good. I think there's a misconception with that because it almost makes it seem as though you have to constantly be in a positive headspace. Like you always have to be optimistic and happy and la-di-da. And it's like, that's not possible as a human being. Like you're going to have days where you feel down or you feel sad. Just because I feel sad today on Saturday, it doesn't mean that I've ruined the chances of me being happy on Wednesday, if that makes sense. So I think it just depends, but I do believe in energy as a whole. I think, you know, you can surround yourself by negative energy, whether that's energy that you're sort of like giving out yourself, or the people that you hang out with. Like energy is a thing. You know, I do watch a lot of these like videos of like scientists talking about energy and atoms and all of that. I don't really know the scientific jargon. I understand it, but I'm not very good at explaining it. But the thing is, energy can't be destroyed. So when you think of it like that, and the fact that we actually radiate energy, like think about it this way. When you enter a room, you can feel the energy of the room, can't you? I've always been that sort of person. I'm very intuitive. I'm very in touch with my feelings and energy. And so anytime I enter the room, I can feel the energy. I can feel people's emotions and their energy. Have you ever entered a room where like you can just tell that something just happened? Like at school, for example. Like, let's just say, I don't know, you had a doctor's appointment in the morning, so you missed your morning classes, but then you come at lunchtime and then your next class, you walk in and there's just this tense energy in class. It's probably because the teacher just shouted at the whole class and you can feel that energy. I believe we're divine beings. We can feel these things. We're given this gift for a reason. And I literally just said that in the last episode when I spoke about endometriosis and the glow tip of the week that I gave, which was to listen to your body. And I said that we're given the gift of intuition and feeling for a reason. Our bodies are so like powerful. And it baffles me that some people don't believe in these things. Some people don't believe in intuition. Some people don't believe in spiritual gifts. Fair enough. I get it. It's a woo-woo subject. But it's like, why not? We are on a floating rock. How did we get here? The fact that there's other floating rocks and planets and stars and galaxies and all of that, why would these things not exist? So I am an intuitive being. I feel things very deeply. And I always joke to people when I say that I'm psychic. I believe we're all psychic or intuitive to a degree. Like, I'm no psychic Sally, but I can definitely say that I have intuitive abilities. And no one ever believes me when I say this because they're like, oh, prove it then. My intuition doesn't happen that way. My intuition shows up in dreams, shows up in many different ways. Like, I have tarot cards. I know not everyone's into tarot. Some people say I've heard such ridiculous things when it comes to tarot. Some people say it's witchcraft. It's not witchcraft. It's literally just using cards as a tool to understand the future, present, and past. I should have said past, present, and future. I hate that I did it backwards, but you know what I mean. It's just a tool. It's a way to interpret things. I used to say that I didn't believe in witchcraft, but I do. Like, I know that people dabble into that shit and that scares me because, again, I believe in energy. Energy can be manipulated, and there are some people who use energy for good and there are some who use it for bad. And I do believe in that stuff. And me, I don't dabble into that. I don't. Just because I have tarot cards, it doesn't mean that I'm into darkness. I'm not. I'm a very spiritual being. My family are religious. I was raised as a Muslim. So I've always had religion or spirituality around me, but I left Islam and I, sort of formed my own path. And I still take elements of religion. I still believe in a higher power. I still believe in all these things, of course. But I've adapted it in my own way and I'm more spiritual. So most of the time I'll say the universe. I believe in the universe. I believe in energy and manifesting and just spiritual gifts, basically. But yeah, I am quite intuitive. It's so funny that I'm talking about this. I didn't think I would speak about this yet. But this is a brain rot episode. So yeah, like I've always been intuitive, even as a child. And like I said, whenever I tell people this, they don't believe me. And it's really frustrating. I feel like people who have spiritual gifts, it's so hard for you to exist because people doubt you and second guess you all the time. And there are some people who can turn it on. Like if they say, oh, prove it. Like some people can be like, oh yeah, your great grandfather's name is this and that and he did this, and they can tell you that. But like I said, I think everyone is intuitive to different degrees. There's a spectrum of it. Some people can switch it on. Some people, it's dormant in them. But I do believe all humans are spiritually gifted. Why not? The fact that we even exist is very interesting. Very, very interesting. So yeah, I've always been quite intuitive and spiritually gifted. Like even as a child, like I could feel spirits. Like I could feel energies. And I'm trying to be open with this stuff because it's real and people experience this stuff. And like I said, no one's ever believed me. Like people think that I'm joking. And like, to be honest, I do always say it in like a jokey way, but I'm serious. Like it would even give me anxiety because I would always feel these energies in any room that I would go in. And like, I would tell my mum that in my childhood home, there was like a very negative energy or spirit. and I didn't like it. And every time we were in the room together, I felt safe with my mum. So anytime I was with someone, I felt okay and I felt safe. But anytime I was alone, it's almost as if like there was this like really dark energy that wanted to pounce on me or whatever. And like there were times where like my mum would leave the room and then I would hear like rustling or something happening. And then she would come in the room and it would stop. Now, I know that sounds delusional, but I'm being dead ass. I'm being dead ass. So, and it's funny because my mum told me that my grandma must have went to see like not tarot reader, but like a psychic, like one of them spiritually gifted people. And that person told her that there is an energy or a spirit that is attracted to my energy. And that confirmed it to me. And I was like, oh, so I'm not delusional then. So yeah, I've always felt energies and spirits, if you want to call it that. I've never seen anything, thank God. I feel like that would terrify me. I know some people are capable of seeing spirits and like ghosts and energies. I don't see anything. I believe that's clairsentience. So I'm not saying I'm fully clairsentient, but I feel things. It's like I have a knowing. I always know things. And then there was a point in my childhood where I kept having visions, especially like when it came to like anytime I would watch a TV show, for example. I know this sounds delusional. Someone's going to gaslight me and I know it. But I used to speak about it at the time where I would watch like a TV show or a music video and then I would think about it. Like, let's just say I watched. So what comes to mind is like, I really loved Hannah Montana and I watched the whole series and every single season. So I knew it quite well. And I would dream about it sometimes, or I might think about it. And then the next day, that exact episode would be on TV. And like someone might say, oh, hour, but they would play it on repeat. They were recurring TV shows and whatever. Obviously, it's going to show up at some point. But it wasn't once and it wasn't twice. It was so many times. It was like every single time I thought about a specific scene, I would go to school the next day and I would come back from school and turn on the TV and that exact scene was playing. And it really freaked me out. So that happened with like TV shows or music videos. Like I would like think of a song in my head and I would sing it in my head. And then, like I said, I would go out to school or go out somewhere, come back, turn on the TV and that song is playing. And it was just driving me insane because I was like, what's going on? What is actually going on? Like it was like every single time, but that stopped after a while. But it was really freaky for me. Now, like I said, I know someone's going to gaslight me, but I don't care. I feel like it's some sort of intuitive ability. It's just like I just knew what was going to be on TV. I knew what was coming. And even with general things in life, it's like I would always have dreams about stuff and then the things would happen. So like I always say to people, nobody should deceive me because it will show up in a dream. And I know people make these jokes all the time. I see it on Twitter all the time when it comes to women. Like there's always that tweet of like, oh, no man should lie to me because it will show up in a dream. And that's what happens to me. I do feel like women are very intuitive. My theory is that as women, we have to be intuitive because we bear children and we have to understand our child's needs, especially in their early years when they can't speak. They can't tell you, oh, mum, my stomach's hurting. You have to read them. You have to understand what it is that they need. So I feel like we were given the gift of intuition for that. And so we carry that throughout our lives. So that's my theory on why women are intuitive. But yeah, it's true. Like whenever people do me dirty and I don't know the reason, or if someone's like conspiring behind my back or something, which rarely happens because I don't get in problems. I don't get in pasa. I don't mingle with people like that. But when it has happened, let's just say someone's deceived me. 9 times out of 10, I will have a dream about it. It won't be exact, but there will be like key messages in that dream, or there'll be a situation which is similar, and then I will interpret it as that thing, as like a deception, and then it will happen. And it is terrifying. It's terrifying. For example, I'm going to give one. So I have two younger siblings on my mum's side. They have the same dad, and don't like the man. He's a piece of shit. So my mum wasn't speaking to him for a minute, and he hadn't seen the kids in a while. I'm not going to go too much into it, but let's just say they hadn't seen him in years, right? My mum wasn't talking to him. To my understanding, they weren't on good terms. And I always said to my mum, I don't want him to come back into their lives, because I know what it's like to have a parent who is in and out of your life, because my dad is like that. Sometimes I would hear from my dad for like a couple of weeks, then I wouldn't hear from him for like 4 months, 6 months, and then he would call. And so he was very like hot and cold and in and out of my life. So I know the pain of that, and I didn't want my siblings to go through that. So I said to my mum, cut him off. Like, it's going to damage them if he keeps coming in and out. So don't speak to him. Cool. I've had a dream, and it was random. I hadn't spoken to my mum about anything. She never told me anything. I never had an inkling of anything. I had a dream of my mum and my sibling's dad. And in this dream, we were in my childhood home, and I opened the living room door, and there was my mum and their dad sat there talking. And I was angry. I was like, how could you? Why is he here? Why are you talking to him? What's going on? Da-da-da-da. So I was like cussing him out. I was doing all sorts, whatever. That was in the dream. The next day, I said to my mum, I said, Mum, I had a dream. So I told her about the dream. She said, oh, that's funny, because we actually met up with him last week. I said, excuse me? Look, I even knocked the mic. I said, excuse me? What did you just say? She said, yeah, I took the kids to see him. I said, wow, nobody should ever hide anything from me, because I will see it. I swear on my great-grandmother's grave, sorry. Whenever I say that, I say this to people. I don't swear on people's graves unless I'm being dead ass. And I swear on her grave and on my life. There was no clue, there was no inkling, no one told me nothing. I had no idea. Literally, I was like oblivious to this. And she told me this, and I was just like, okay, I need to start trusting my dreams, because that wasn't the first time. I have had so many dreams which have revealed things to me, not necessarily negative, sometimes good. Sometimes I see things coming, and it happens in reality. And it just, yeah, it's weird. Like, I'm able to predict things sometimes. I'm not good at dates, not very good at dates, but like sometimes I have a feeling about things, or like I sometimes will, I think when it comes to like trying to figure out like timeframes and whatever, like my senses get heightened, or like I might smell something. So like recently I was like doing like a little tarot card reading for myself, and I started smelling daffodils. So whenever I can smell flowers, I know it signifies spring. So when I was doing the reading, I was like, oh, this situation may happen around spring. Obviously, we've now entered March, so we'll see. But yeah, that's just me. I know people won't believe me, and they'll think I'm like delusional, but I promise you, like, I am very intuitive. Like, I feel things as well, like physically. Like, whenever I go somewhere and I get that feeling, I just know that something's going to happen, or like I'm not in the right place, like I need to leave. And that's not just me. I'm not unique in that sense. All of us have that ability. Like I said, it's up to you whether you want to tap into it. I also wanted to talk about, gosh, how much time do I have? God, I got like 25 minutes to go. I'm not going to go into it in this episode too detailed, but like in another episode, I will speak about this. Now, disclaimer. I am not encouraging anybody to take any substance or to do any of this. I'm just sharing my experience, and it's just an anecdote, just a story, just my experience. So, I have tried shrooms a couple of times. I've had some bad experiences and I've had some good ones. Now, there is a misconception when it comes to psychedelics, so when it comes to things like shrooms, that it's like this hard class A drug. Yes, they've classified it in that way, but when you do your research about it, you will understand that this is a natural substance that God and the universe gave us. There's a reason why it's illegal. And that's because it is such a powerful tool for you to open your mind. And that's how I used it. I didn't take shrooms because I wanted to be this cool hippie and I wanted to be on drugs. I even hate the fact that it's a drug, or like it's put under that category. I believe it's a medicine. Some people refer to it as a medicine, and I believe that it is. Some people misuse it and use it like it's a drug, like something like heroin and all of that, but it's not. This is a very powerful tool that you can use to expand your mind and to open your mind. And through my shroom experiences, I've seen through the bullshit. And I think that's why I'm so much more grounded now and so much more like at peace within myself, because my shroom experiences have actually allowed me to see the world in a different way. It removes the veil from my eyes. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I truly believe that the world operates in a way which keeps us from the truth, which keeps us from such divine things that exist. Now, like I said, I'm going to dedicate an episode to this because there's so much to touch on and so much to talk about, but it goes hand in hand with what I'm saying, that we are very intuitive and very divine beings, and we're capable of such amazing things, but the world and society dims our light. And I saw that through certain shroom trips, because I was able to reach heights that I didn't think a human could. I was able to process information in such a beautiful way. And even the bad trips that I have, I got so much closure and so much peace and information from those experiences. And I wouldn't change them. Even though some of them were terrifying, I won't lie, I learned so much. So I know, like I said, there's this misconception that psychedelics are drugs and class A and hard drugs, and you're crackhead, or how can you say crackhead, but like you're, a drug addict if you take shrooms. No, it's different. Number one, you can't get addicted to shrooms. You just can't. That's a fact. I'm not just saying that, but it's not possible to get addicted to shrooms. Number two, like I said, it's a natural occurrence, natural source, whatever you want to call it, from the world. It's what the universe gave us. But I personally believe once people started to realize that these things are capable of opening your mind and allowing you to see through the bullshit, that's why it's illegal. I promise you, if everyone had access to psychedelics, and I'm not saying that we should, by the way, I'm just saying, like, hypothetically speaking, society wouldn't be the way that it is right now. People would see through the bullshit. We wouldn't be in this robotic, dog eat dog world. Because I don't believe the world is meant to be this way. It's not. We're meant to have freedom. We're meant to be happy and at peace and love one another. But unfortunately, there are, people who control things. People, we look at presidents and like royal families and think that they're the ones who are in control. They're not. And I know I sound like someone who is a shroom head and whatever, but this is literally what I learned from my trips and through research as well. The information is out there. It's up to you whether you want to internalize it or not, whether you want to believe it. I'm not forcing it upon people, but honestly, doing shrooms was one of the best things that I've done for myself, because I was able to expand my mind. I was able to heal from certain things. Like I said, I used it as a tool to open my mind and to heal. And truly, like, I've always been intelligent, well-spoken, and like grounded, but my experience with psychedelics helped that tenfold. I had such amazing visuals, feelings, understandings that is so hard to put into words. Like, you would have to experience it to understand. And again, I'm not telling you to go and do shrooms. I'm not telling you to do these things. I'm not saying that it will fix your problems, but it definitely gave me a different perspective on life. And it helped me to be more forgiving, more understanding, and more loving. Because through some of my trips, I could see that we're all connected. Everything on this earth, everything that happens here happens for a reason, and it's connected. And I do believe in a collective consciousness. I believe in so many of these things, and I believe in a higher power and the divine. It baffles me when people say that they don't believe that there is a higher power, that they don't believe that there's anything to this. There has to be. I feel like everything is so intricate and planned. Now, the thing that I struggle with is free will. I don't know if I fully believe in free will. I always say, I don't know if this makes sense, but I say that I believe that we have will, but it's not free. I believe that we have choice, but it's not really a choice. I do believe that it leads to predetermined situations, if that makes sense. Because I don't believe in free will, because I feel like in order for that to exist and for it to be a thing, you would have to know every single possibility and outcome. And in the form that we're in as human beings, it's impossible. And also, there is such thing as infinite. Infinite is ever going, like, is infinite. There's no end. There are infinite possibilities. So for free will to exist, I feel like you need to know every single outcome in order to make a choice, to know that you have free will. I don't know if that makes sense. It makes sense in my head, but that's why I say I feel like we have will. I don't know how to explain it, but I feel like we have certain choices, but we were always going to do that anyway. And like I said, I truly believe that everything is connected, because one thing about me, I don't know if it's a neurodivergent thing, but the way I think about my life, I see it in a timeline. So whenever I recall events, I recall it from start to finish. Sometimes I can be quite jumpy because of my ADHD, but like when I visualize it in my mind, I literally see a timeline. So I just was able to understand that we're all connected and that we are so much more than we think. And the world is like this for a reason. And unfortunately, we just have to accept that. Like, we have to accept when bad things happen because they're supposed to happen. That's what I saw in my trips. And I'll go into more detail about that because I know I should give context. I don't want anyone to take that out of context. I needed to gather my thoughts because I was just like going off into the clouds. Like I said, like there is so much to talk about and there's so much to touch on. Like it's such an interesting topic and it's something that I'm so passionate about. Like I just love talking about spirituality, talking about the universe, the world, and just all of these divine things. But like I said, I'm not here to say that you need to take shrooms to heal or that you need to, do these things or believe in what I believe in. Like you are your own human being, I would never force that down anyone's throat or, I would never promote that, This is just my experience. And like I said, people might think I'm woo-woo. They might think I'm crazy. That's fine. I know that I'm not. But like I said, these experiences really changed me and really brought me down to earth. Like I was able to become one with myself and with the universe. And I just feel like it's such a beautiful thing to be able to see life in a different way and to open your mind and expand it and just try different things. And I don't necessarily mean like psychedelics. I just mean like different experiences and like learn about different things. And I think I'm kind of dancing around it because like I said, I don't want to go into too much detail in this episode. I definitely want to dedicate another episode to this, but I learned so much. I learned so much about myself. I was able to heal from a lot. And that didn't happen during the stream trips. This was like over a period of time, but it definitely opened my mind and allowed me to start the work and to start healing. And I had so many beautiful experiences, and as I mentioned before, some really tough ones. But those ones also, taught me a lot, and I took some things from that. So yeah, like, guys, I've lived a life. I've experienced things. I'm, like I said, I don't want anyone to listen to this and think I'm like some woo-woo person or I take drugs. They're not drugs, man. It's plant medicine. It's natural. It's from the earth. It's, like I keep saying, it's a powerful tool that we were given by a higher power. But then once it got into the wrong hands and they realized what you could do with it, they were like, nope, we need to take this away, because they will see through the bullshit. And a lot of people have, like I have. That's why I don't conform to certain things. Oh gosh, yeah, it's a lot to talk about, isn't it? Yeah. Guys, there's a lot to learn. If I were you, I would go and do my research. Go do your research. Learn about this stuff. Learn about the universe. Learn about higher powers. Like, the thing that I've sort of had like a hyperfixation on recently is the telepathy tapes. I don't know if you guys have listened to the telepathy tapes. I don't know if anyone would be interested, but oh my gosh, it just blew my mind. And it's crazy because, so if you don't know what the telepathy tapes are, it's basically this podcast by Ky Dickens around autistic people. I think mostly children, autistic children who are able to, who have high intuition and who are able to communicate telepathically. So they're trying to look at the correlation between autism and telepathy. And I was mind blown. But the maddest thing is, for years, I always said that I truly believe that people with autism are gifted. And I don't mean gifted in the sense like, when you're at school, it's like, oh, gifted and talented. Those are the neurodivergent kids. I don't mean it like that. I mean, how I said that we're intuitive beings and we were given this gift, they are like at the top. Because I too could potentially be autistic. I've mentioned it a few times where I am waiting to get a diagnosis. But if I'm being honest with you, I'm very sure that I am, because it does run in my family and I can relate to it as well. Again, it's a spectrum. Some people have, high, what do they call it? Because there's like different terms, because they've changed the terms now, but like high needs and like lower needs. I'm on the lower side of the spectrum, but for me, mine's like more sensory or sometimes social cues. And just the way that my brain processes information definitely aligns with autism. But I've always said that I truly believe that autistic people are like divine beings, and the telepathy tapes have proved that. And I know some people have been second guessing it and saying that it's a hoax and it's a lie, but it's crazy because the people saying this are neurotypical people. It's not the people with autism denouncing it. Not that I've seen, there might be, but I've seen some parents come out on social media saying, wow, I feel seen because my kid can do this too. Please listen to the telepathy tapes. I believe there are videos as well. I've seen some clips, but I haven't like watched like all of them. But I've been listening to the telepathy tapes and it's just been amazing. It's like the things that these kids can do, to be able to read their mother's minds when they're not even in the room. Like oh my gosh, it's just amazing. So I've always believed that we're capable of these things. And like I said, autistic people, if that includes myself, have heightened senses. I feel like they see the world the way we're meant to see it, like the way everyone's supposed to see it. They see it for what it is. And they have these abilities because they might have a disability in one sense, other senses are heightened. I don't know what the reason is, but the telepathy tapes were just so mind-blowing to me and so validating and reassuring that it's true that these things exist. And like I said, it's just a shame that a lot of people don't believe in it or don't believe in these things in general. And I think it's a thing, man. It's a thing. I wish people would stop looking at neurodivergent people or people with disabilities as if like they're not intelligent, as if they're not able to do certain things or to understand or comprehend things. I even really hate the term disability sometimes when it comes to neurodivergence. Obviously, like I can't speak for, you know, other disabilities because I am an able-bodied person. But I mean, in terms of neurodivergence, because I too am neurodivergent, I am diagnosed with ADHD. I don't really like it because it's not a disability, it's an ability, because I'm able to see things in a different way. Because I feel like disability reinforces that idea that it's a negative, that I'm not capable of doing something. No, it's not that I'm not capable of doing something. I'm a different human being who has a different approach. Why does that make me less than or not able? But I understand it's an umbrella term. It's sometimes we need labels to understand. So I try not to internalize it too much, but if I think too deeply about it, that's how I see it. I'm like, it's not disabling. It's just a different approach. But that's just how I see it. That doesn't mean that everyone else does. I can't speak for everyone else, but that's just my viewpoint on it, I guess. But I would say go and listen to the Telepathy Tapes. Let me know what you think, because I was mind blown. I know some people won't believe it, but I believe it. I truly do. I truly do. But yeah, so I am an intuitive being as well. I, have definitely had my fair share of like crazy things happen to me. And I just know things. I think I have a good internal compass and I have good discernment. I've had moments when I haven't, but for the most part, I have good discernment. And I think that's important to have as a human being. Nurture the gifts that we were given, like use it to your advantage. It's there for a reason. So yeah, I just wanted to have like a little, little random chit chat with you guys. But yeah, like all in all, I'm doing good. I'm using these abilities to improve my life, to manifest. And, sorry, I've got like lip gloss everywhere. Well, I'm wearing lip gloss. Anyways, sorry, ADHD. I'm doing good. I'm in a good headspace. I'm feeling so much better. I'm feeling much more grounded and connected with myself. I feel like my intuition has grown a lot. I'm able to, like I said, use discernment. When it comes to that workplace situation, I had a feeling something was going to happen. I knew that wasn't the place for me. I knew something good was going to come as well. So all of this sort of ties in. I know it was like quite random and rambly, but it ties in. Like I said, everything is connected. Everything happens for a reason. I know sometimes things will happen and it feels like it's the worst thing in the world and it's like, oh, woe is me. But I promise you, that thing was meant to happen and it will make sense eventually. And that's how I see it. When I got let go from my job, I was like, like during when I'm recovering from surgery, like really? But it was meant to happen. And I'm in such a better place, so much more grounded. And I've got a job where I am valued and I'm doing what I love. And it was the job that I really wanted. And I manifested it. Like it didn't happen fast, but the way it happened was just mind-blowing. Like it's just such an amazing story, but hopefully I can tell it one day. Like I said, I need to figure out how to tie it in because it ties into my previous job. So I need to figure out a way where it's sort of dancing around it, but like telling the story in like in a way where you'll understand, if that makes sense. But yeah, everything works out, guys, and I feel so much happier and lighter. And it's just nice that whenever I talk to my friends, they say that they can see that I'm happier and I'm in a much better place, and I feel like that's the best compliment you can get. So yeah, I'm just so grateful for life, guys. I just wanted to check in with you and have a little ramble sesh. I think it's good to have these episodes occasionally. I don't know what I'll call them. Maybe I should give it a name. I mean, I did call it a brain rot episode. I don't know if I like that term, but it's just verbal vomit. Verbal vomit? Vomit? But guys, This is the second episode that I'm recording right now. So as you can imagine, my brain is fried. But yeah, I'll come up with like a name for these sort of episodes, like because they're shorter and just a bit more rambly. But yeah, I really enjoyed this episode, guys. I just, touched on a few things that I will go into detail about in future episodes. But let me know what you thought about this. Do you want more rambly episodes like this, or do you like the structure? Of course, I will always stick to a structure. I just wanted to like keep it cool and, a bit more laid back for this episode. But next episode, I will be speaking about being the eldest daughter. And I know that's like a popular topic that people really love engaging with, especially on my TikTok when I've spoken about it. So I definitely want to speak about my experience as an eldest daughter. So the structure will be back in case you weren't too happy with this episode. But I enjoyed it. I had a great time. And this is just who I am. I just ramble. I can yap. But anyways, guys, that's a wrap, babe. And as I like to say, keep glowing, stay true, and always be unapologetically you. Bye, guys.